I'm kicking off a fast, fuss-free cabbage bake that turns simple veg into a cozy dinner before the table is set. Be honest, when cabbage digs in its heels, are you team lumberjack or team let's pivot to something cabbage-free today? I loosen the core with a small V-cut, switch to short, safe strokes, and the shreds behave. They slide into a saucepan just covered with cool water, and a light pinch of salt wakes the flavor gently. Lid on, steady heat to a soft simmer so the color stays bright and the bite stays kind. While it hums, tell me where you're cooking from today. Drop your city in the comments. If calm weeknight recipes are your thing, tap subscribe so the next one lands on your homepage without hunting. Meanwhile, the kitchen smells like comfort. My beagle parks by my feet like a tiny inspector.
Tell me in the comments what you'd tweak next time. Extra mushrooms, a pinch of chili, a different herb mix, and I'll test your ideas.
Knife back on the board for an onion. I trim, halve, and shave it into fine pieces that melt sweetly in the pan. A skillet warms with a small gloss of olive oil, no smoke, just a quiet shimmer that means go. I nudge the cabbage so everything softens evenly, then let it finish under the lid. Back to the board, I sweep the onion into a tidy pile so it enters the pan all at once for even cooking. If onions make you tear up, chill them for 10 minutes or breathe through your mouth while slicing. My husband's glasses trick also works. The oil shows a calm shimmer, so the onion goes in and I stir just enough to help it relax into sweetness. Medium heat keeps the edges translucent instead of rushing them to brown, and the kitchen starts to smell friendly. I trim a sweet pepper, clear the seeds and pale ribs, then shave it into tiny squares that melt into the mix rather than steal the show. The pepper gets the center of the pan for a quick kiss of heat, then I spread everything thin so steam can escape and flavor concentrates. 3 unhurried minutes and the colors turn glossy like stained glass. If the surface looks dry, I add a teaspoon of water, not more oil, to lift the fond and keep things light. My daughter always wanders in here to ask if she can taste one red cube, and the answer is usually yes. I give the pan a wide, gentle fold from the edges toward the middle so nothing breaks and every bite tastes balanced. While that hums, I wipe 4 mushrooms so they brown instead of steaming, and slice them into even pieces for clean texture. I make a small clearing in the center and let the first handful meet real heat before I draw the onions and pepper back over them. I keep the spoon lazy and patient until the mushroom juices simmer away and the sizzle sounds cheerful again. If your pan feels crowded, hold a few slices back for a minute and finish in 2 waves. Space is flavor with mushrooms. I stir well and keep the heat at medium so the mix stays bright and tender, not slumped. Time for the quiet lift that ties everything together, so I grate 2 cloves of garlic on the fine side and stir them in when the pan sounds friendly, not angry. 30 calm seconds is all it takes for the aroma to bloom without turning sharp. Then I season in a light rain across the surface so every bite gets its share. Quick check-in while we cook together. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this idea? Leave your number below. And a small boost for the channel helps a lot. Hit like and subscribe so more home cooks find these calm videos. A gentle pinch of salt wakes the sweetness we built, a warm dusting of paprika rounds the edges, and a little oregano rubbed between my fingers releases those cozy oils. I mix with slow, wide strokes from the edges toward the middle, let the heat drop to a soft bubble, and give the vegetables a few unhurried minutes to agree with each other. If a little liquid appears, patience wins. It will thicken into a saucy hug that clings to the spoon. Lid on for a short rest so the flavors settle, then I taste and smile. Bright, mellow, exactly where we want it. Back at the stove, I give the vegetables one last lazy stir and turn off the heat. They're ready to meet the greens soon. While the pan hums, I check on the cabbage. It's tender but not sleepy, so I lift it to a sieve, shake off the water, and spread it to cool so steam escapes and the bite stays pleasant. Board cleared, I bring over 3 potatoes and my ridged slicer, the one that makes tidy, thin pieces without fuss. I trim the ends so they stand steady, then guide each potato down the blade in smooth strokes, stopping when my fingers get close. If you prefer, a mandolin or a sharp knife works just as well. Thinner pieces cook evenly and layer neatly with the cabbage. I drop the slices into a bowl of cool water for a minute to rinse the surface starch, then lift them to a towel and pat dry so they won't glue together. And the skillet of peppers and mushrooms is resting with a soft shine. Everything is lined up now, cabbage relaxed, vegetables glossy, potatoes thin and tidy. Now the warm pan of peppers, onions, and mushrooms joins the party, and the color turns cheerful in a second. I mix everything thoroughly but calmly so the vegetables stay in friendly bites and the cabbage doesn't tangle. If a strand tries to bunch up, I tease it apart with the tips of my fingers and keep moving. The baking dish waits nearby. I brush the base and sides with a small gloss of olive oil so the edges crisp and the serve releases without a fight. The mixture slides in and I level it with the back of a spoon, nudging the corners so thickness matches all around. A light tamp settles air pockets. Tapping the dish once on the counter does the rest. This even bed is what gives neat slices later. If your vegetables ran very juicy, hold back a spoon or 2 of liquid so the bake stays lively, not heavy. My husband steals a test fork at this point, and our beagle parks by my feet like a tiny inspector on shift. 4 eggs crack into the bowl, and I whisk in small circles until the surface turns even and a soft ribbon falls back and disappears. A cup of milk streams in, and the color turns pale and calm. I keep the whisk moving around the edges so nothing hides on the sides. A small pour of olive oil follows to keep the crumb tender and help the top release neatly from the dish. Now the dry team arrives, measured, not dumped. Flour in light showers, then baking powder through my fingers so it sprinkles evenly. I whisk just until smooth. We're after a pour that slides in a steady line, not a heavy batter. If it feels lively, I rest it a minute and let the flour drink. If it feels loose, a teaspoon more flour brings it together. The kitchen smells warm and savory, and the colors look like market day in a tray. Seasoning happens like a quiet rain. A modest pinch of salt, a friendly breath of paprika, and a twist of black pepper to warm the edges. Fresh dill and parsley get a very fine chop, so the green freckles spread instead of landing in loud bites. I fold them through with a spatula until the surface looks evenly speckled and smells like a garden after sun. One last taste on the tip of a spoon, balanced, gentle, ready to meet the vegetables. The dish comes close, and I pour from the center in a slow spiral, letting the custard slip between cabbage, potatoes, and mushrooms. A gentle tap on the side lifts tiny bubbles. A slow sweep of the spoon levels the top so it bakes without ridges. I leave a fingertip of space along the rim for tidy bubbling and wipe the edge clean. Small details, neat slices. If your oven runs hot,
Park a rack in the middle and preheat fully so the rise is calm rather than rushed. The tray slides in and the door closes softly. I set a window of 30 to 35 minutes and start peeking when the edges look proud and the center wobbles like soft jelly. While the oven does its quiet work, I tidy the board and prep the finish. 2 ripe tomatoes get a quick core and a neat dice. If they're very juicy, I rest them on a towel so they land bright, not watery. A pinch of Italian herbs rubs between my fingers to wake the oils, and a small mound of cheese waits on the fine and coarse sides of the grater. Stretch from one, sparkle from the other. The kitchen smells warm and savory. My beagle parks by my feet like a tiny inspector, entirely professional, mildly hopeful. When the timer nudges, I'll set the pan on a rack, crown it with tomatoes and herbs, add that light snowfall of cheese, and return it for a short melt so dinner arrives golden and confident. The edges look proud and the center gives a gentle wobble, so I set the dish on a rack and let it take one quiet breath. Tomatoes are ready, small, neat dice that land bright instead of watery. I scatter the tomatoes across the warm top, then add a light snowfall of cheese. Back onto the middle rack it goes for a short melt. Door closed, heat steady, just enough time for the crown to gloss and blush gold. The timer nudges. I pull the pan and listen for that soft crackle the cheese makes when air meets the surface. 1 minute on the rack helps the steam settle so slices hold their shape. A thin knife around the edge, a firm scoop under the corner, and the first square lifts neat. Green flecks from dill and parsley, tender cabbage and potatoes, sweet pepper and mushroom, and a glossy tomato cheese crown. Let the dish cool, cover, and chill. A gentle reheat brings back the softness, or a minute in a dry skillet revives the edges if you prefer a crisper bite. If this one earns a place in your rotation, give the video a quick thumbs up so more home cooks find it. Thanks for cooking with me tonight, friends. See you soon with another simple dinner that tastes like it took longer than it did.